foods. I mean, I think this all has to do with the popularity of Kurt. What do you think? That's a great thing. What we hope to do today, and again, I trust that, try to get the voices at the correct level, is give you an opportunity to learn about something that's being experienced across all LifeSpire. We hope to equip you with a lot of answers, and you've gotten some in front of you. There's going to be a communication given to you through the cubbies today, right, Paula? As we speak, there's a letter that's also clarifying, and what we're preparing for is next week. What has already happened is this transition has already occurred at Lakewood, our sister community in Richmond, which has an even larger population, and it went seamlessly over the last few weeks to round of applause by residents, by staff, etc. So what our hope today is to guide you through this. We're on a journey together. I think that you'll see there's been a lot of preparation and work to get to where we are, and hopefully this will all become clear. With that being said, let's see if we can't just proceed on through. I'm going to go through the Q&A that you have in front of you, because what we've attempted to do is to sort of anticipate questions that you might have. I know that you'll have more because we can't think of all of them. You'll ask the good questions today. We merely put in print ones we could think of. We're going to talk a little bit about that dining dollars cycle. Some of you saw that in the town hall report. It's just talking about your quarter. Not going to lose any dollars, but just a transition to help from an accounting practice. We're going to do a demonstration online. So we're going to try to put up here. So Anisha and Kurt, we still good with that?
We're going to try.
Okay, we just wanted you to see it. If not, we can take around and show you the screens, etc. But it's a fascinating program. We want to talk about the benefits of it in summary, the changes that you will experience, I think, to the good, and just an overall summary. The final is, in the back of the room, continuing what they've been doing all week long, Candace and Paula will be able to register you for those of you who have not yet received your username and password. Just making it very easy for you to access it if you choose to online. So with that being said, let's go ahead. EMenu Choice, the name of the software. Wanted to help you, what is a POS? What is a point of sale? And again, some of this I'm going to be reading, but you know, sometimes we comprehend it once we hear it once, twice, etc. So I'm going to read it. You can still review it, talk about it, but it's a program. It's an array of devices that can track transactions or purchases. And those array of devices, you're seeing a couple examples over on the table. And Kurt, why don't you go ahead and highlight, what are some of those devices?
So this is our square stand. So this is going to replace that station in the room where after the servers come to your table and write your order on a piece of paper, they then go over to another desktop and they put your order in. This stand is going to replace that. It's going to be there for them to print off a lot of information. But this is their handheld device. Every server is going to have this. You've heard us talking in the past about wanting the servers to have these kind of handheld devices. And a lot of it had to do with our Wi-Fi capabilities that we were able to do this. These are already tested. We've been through the entire building. The servers will be using this. So when you come into the aisle restaurant right away, and even if you're 57, you're going to see your server walk up to your table, and every bit of information will be on this. So when they come up, we're going to do a little demo later, but I'm just going to describe it to you. You'll be able to walk up to your table, take your name. If you have 4 people at the table, they'll put all 4 names, and then they'll go one by one and take your order. The order will, once they push your name, your photo will come up, a lot of great information will come up. If you have allergies or all these kind of things that we will develop over the beginning of this, but even in the beginning, your photo will come up, and then a menu will pop up, and it'll show them pictures of everything on our menu, up to date, to today's daily menu. Chef's Thursday menu will come up, and you'll order your drink, your salad, your soup, your entree, dessert, and that'll all go in and it'll all be saved. And as soon as they hit send on that, that goes immediately to the kitchen. There's no more, okay, I'll be right back, and I go disappear for 15 minutes putting in your order. more time to come back and check on your drinks, clear your plates, you know, it's another step removed from the servers. So this is gonna be a real big key in the restaurant.
So the tablet is a clear piece, and what he's holding is what servers will have. The other one that's on the stand is what can be seen and used in the cafe, could be used at the main salons. It's a little bit like a cash register, and some of you have heard me use that analogy. And then the other item that's over on the table, there's printers. Printers are very important because they basically facilitate the talking between the server and what the chefs or what the cafe cook see, and is printed and is what they follow through. So it's an interesting system in that what's not here, and those of you in the room that know computers, there's no longer a server connected to all of this. In the past, we've had $10,000 piece of equipment that it's required, and now this is all cloud-based. So those of you who are internet, know that. Our reliability with our cloud-based software is tenfold better than what we've experienced with our server situations. So the equipment was less. The equipment, even if we have to replace something, these are tablets readily available. We're no longer buying proprietary equipment, which we had to with the previous one. So back to the simplicity, let's keep there. Trying to show you that there's a program or software and there's an array of devices that can track purchases. In the restaurants and dining room, it also serves as an order entry communication system. A server can take tableside orders and simultaneously, as they're done, send the order to the kitchen or grill. The system records the dollar transaction to the resident's account, and also the system can track product popularity, inventory levels. The chef can use this in the future to say, the last time I served this, how many did we sell? How many orders were there? We need to produce more. There's a lot of interesting just-in-time and data that will be helpful. Next question. What systems were we using and why change? So we were using Serving and Tell as a product we used for order entry and tracking dining dollars for the past 5 years. It was a system put in place when our previous one was at the end of its life. Matrix Care really stopped supporting a POS system. So we went to Serving and Tell. It was used in some restaurants, but truthfully not a popular system. And we made the best of it for 5 years. And every dining director, every business office manager across LifeSpire looked for the point in time when we'd step away from Serving and Tell to a better system. The old system was server-based. It did occasionally crash, stopped working. We had to get hold of IT. We had to figure out what it was to get that server back up. And it lacked the few features that we can find in systems today. How was the new point-of-sale system selected? Because the previous one was selected by 2 people. An IT person who didn't work in dine-in hospitality and another corporate employee. This new system was very much vetted and located differently. LifeSpire created an interdepartmental inter-community task force to identify best practice systems that serve the senior living industry. A number of features and specifications were identified. The task force was set to include 4 dining directors, business office managers, dining room managers, and executive director. I was the leader of the task force. This core group attended a National Senior Living Dining Conference in which every point-of-sale system was on display and available for demonstration and interviews. After experiencing several demonstrations, reviewing a complete request for proposal submission from each of the companies, the top 2 companies were identified. Other key stakeholders from the home office, including our controller, our vice president of information technology and budget, joined the core group. Additional demonstrations were experienced and multiple team conferences, reference checks with like communities using the 2 final products was under consideration were conducted. The unanimous decision by the entire team of 10 of us was EMenu choice. How many retirement communities are using EMenu choice? Over 500 at this point in time and growing. They're getting close to 600 now. And fascinating, of the references we checked, 2 of the communities, one a single site, one multi-site, they were previously using our second runner-up. And it was fascinating for them to tell us why did they leave full count and why did they go to EMenu choice. Just added to some clarification in our research. Next question. What happens with dine time and how will we make reservations? We're canceling our contract with both serving tell and dine time. Now, to let you know, and we'll give you some feedback on this, we're going to let them cross over for a few days because we don't want to necessarily lose dining reservations. We're going to have to be careful on that. So we're not just going to turn dine time off on a dime. But we have to have some transition, and that was a lesson learned from Lakewood. But once we feel we're clear sailing, we then have termination clauses with both dine time and serving and tell, and have provided them advance notice of us not continuing with them. So those two contracts and the two amounts that we were spending will stop, and we're actually spending, when you look at it all in, less money than we have been. So we've got some efficiencies that was important to us. So EMenu choice, our new point of sale, includes a robust dining room reservation system. It includes mirroring the table and seating setup of any of our dining venues. So we're able to provide a setup of Regatta Grill, of the Mariners, and it produces it exactly as it is with the number of tables, the number of seats. We can even do it for this room, as we have used this room often for major holidays, and Kurt communicated we'll be using this for Easter. We can set this room up in banquet rounds or whatever, and rather than having a paper system and crossing out and making sure we don't lose the paper that's over at the concierge desk, it's in the cloud and the information will not disappear once we put your reservations in. So we have a lot of more features, a lot more things to use in the reservation system. And again, this program includes both point of sale and reservation. So with Dine Time, we will sunset it in upcoming weeks, make sure we're not missing anything. But beyond that, you'll now be able to use this new portal and EMenu choice for setting up your reservations. How will residents make dining reservations? Truthfully, as you are right now, except through a different portal, a different connection. You have the option of using the EMenu choice portal, and when I say a portal, I could use a lot of different words. I could say portal, maybe if you want to use, I could use my smart device, I can use my tablet, I can connect to the internet, I can use my computer. All of those things are saying the same thing. You're connecting to a computer, okay? And you are connecting it to the password and username that Paul and Candace can help you with, and many of you are doing that right now. We also can add the feature, and Candace, correct me if I'm wrong, of having the portal through Uniguest, so that we can add that button there. So some of you might like the convenience of going to Uniguest, Touchdown, and connecting to a reservation. We can do that still, but we'll get that set up. So you do that. The other opportunity, because some of you will say, David, I don't use technology. This is not, I want to just be able to go to the concierge, call the concierge, and make my reservation. That's fine. Continue to do so. No change. So if you don't embrace technology, if you don't want to go through the portal and use a smart device, you can make your reservations as you are today through the concierge. How many days in advance can I make reservations, and at what time does the window for making reservations open? This has been just a concern, a challenge over the last few years, because Serve and Tell only had a clock that changed at midnight. And 7 days in advance, there were a few of you in the room, and I won't ask for a show of hands, who would stay up until 12:01, make your reservations, make them for you and your friends, and you had the next week's set up, or at least 7 days out, and you got the table and time you wanted. Well, if you were a midnight group, God bless you. I think that going forward, we can turn some lights off and you don't have to stay up till midnight. So what are we doing? This system allows us some flexibility. And what we believe is a reasonable approach is to use 10 a.m. in the morning, So that's what we're going to set as the parameter. And it will still be 7 days in advance, meaning you can make reservations no more than 7 days out. So let me use the example. Today is Friday. And if we want to make a reservation for next Friday for dinner, you will be able to make that reservation after 10 o'clock tomorrow. 10 o'clock tomorrow. Then you'll be able to make a reservation for next Friday. On Sunday, you can make a reservation for the next Saturday. That's the way the system has worked, and that's what we set up. If anyone has a brainchild that's better than that, we are welcome to it, but what we are trying to prevent is from some residents who happen to be tech savvy, who were willing to stay up until midnight to get their reservations, locking in a certain table, a certain time indefinitely. Because we realized that could have happened, and it would have. But we said, no, we got to give people an opportunity, because you can't, it's almost like going to guaranteed seating times. Well, some people are going to lock themselves in a certain day every week, and a new resident may move in and want to dine with somebody else or whatever, but everybody's locked into set times. Can't go there. So that's why we set that 7-day window up. Now on the flip side, you can see here at the bottom, for dates that you are expecting a guest, it could be your pastor, could be a neighbor, could be your son or daughter, a brother or sister visiting you. You can make reservations into the future, beyond the 7 days. And I just use an example. Go out a year, doesn't matter. System, I think, can accept that. There's not an issue. But what we're suggesting is this. You may have a guest coming from out of town, and they're traveling all day, and they get here at 5:30, and you just want to have dinner. Well, rather than missing it and not getting the time that's working with their travel schedule, just go ahead and set your reservation in advance for 5:30 in the room you want. And you can do so. You make those advanced reservations through the concierge. You will not be able to do that on your own portal, because the system will only allow you to go from 10 a.m. in the morning, 7 days out. So really, other than midnight to 10 a.m., that's the main thing. Now, the other thing that's come up at resident council a couple of times is, well, is somebody getting in reservations before the 7 days? Somehow they're going around the system. And as we talked about managers, et cetera, and making sure that there's no one on the dining team, that there's no concierge putting their favorite resident in half a day ahead of time, no, we have to be fair. So we've got, I think, effort happening to make that better. So that's a little bit on reservations and those two questions. Okay? We okay on the microphones? I heard the buzzing too. Are you trying to? Are we better? Okay. The next question, does the point of sale system automatically communicate with the Chesapeake billing and medical record system? While we use Matrix Care, which is our current product, our current system we use for our medical records and billing, we have similar connectivity as before with Serving and Tow. It's adequate, but not best practice. For any of you computer experts out there, what I'm saying is, at the end of each month, we have to do an export of a file. We export all of your transactions, all of your dining dollars, and what's been used, and it gets exported into a file, and Sherry incorporates that into the next month's billing. And that will be how EMenu Choice will initially work. But all of LifeSpire is changing a second system this year, later in the year. After we get this one under our belts, we're going to be changing to a new electronic medical system. It's called Point-Click Care. Like EMenu Choice, it's senior living best practice. Point-Click Care will take instantaneous downloads and information and talk with EMenu Choice. So whether it's a resident who today happens to leave independent living and they're temporarily in healthcare, we can follow them there. The system will follow them there. The order entry system will follow. So that's something very different that we don't have today. Go ahead, question.
Will the server be able to see our medical information?
The question is, will the server be able to see medical information? What we will be loading into EMenu Choice will be all of your allergens and things that we have to be aware of in your dining habits. And just to give you an example, and it may be in the demo or not, when all of our information is known and we have this loaded in, if David's ordering something and I happen to be allergic to eggs, and if I order something that has eggs or mayonnaise or whatever in it, it highlights on the server screen. And the server can say, Mr. Loop, that product has eggs in it. Are you sure you want to order it? And you, oh, no, please, no. So it has features we've never seen before. So, and those allergens and those pieces of information applicable to dining will move between point, click, and care seamlessly. Now we're having to either front-end load or a little different workaround. Okay? Good question. So you're hearing two things here. Very thoughtful about how does it communicate today, how will it communicate tomorrow, and you're hearing that we're going to move. It will be invisible to you, but later in the year, electronic medical system. Peggy, in the very, oh, whoever, Mr. Pope, your question. The question is if a bunch of people get on at 10 a.m. in the morning. Now, if you're going through the portal, it will process nanoseconds and who came in first. So the electronic piece will be handled, okay? And it will show you if someone already is in front of you and has a table on hold, it will not allow you to grab that table. So that's the easy part. The second part is if you're at 10 a.m. and you'd like to call the concierge, you may be in line if others are reaching out to them at that moment of time. If you happen to walk down here, you know, Paula will have to work with this, but she may guide the concierges to alternate between a phone call and the person in front of them. Do we have that type of rush now? Not really. But we have to be prepared, and that would be my response. Okay. Can I still receive a receipt after each meal, and will it print my dining dollar balance? Yes. In addition, through the portal, you can see your balance and view in detail any past transaction and each item ordered by you and even your guest. If they were on your tab, you use your dining dollars, you paid for it. So if you'd say, wait, did we really order all of that? And is this correct on my monthly bill if I happen to take it on my resident charge? You'll be able to look at the entire meal on March 25th, yep, but that's right, we did get that. So it will give you more information that you've never seen before. Question?
Will we still be signing?
The question is, will you still be signing? Kurt, I'll have to turn that to you. The question is, will you still be signing the chit or the receipt?
They can if they like, but they don't. So you can continue signing, but if somebody did just...
Your microphone may be off again.
Sorry.
It might be just questions.
Yeah, we've got two different frequencies. We should be okay.
Can you hear me? Okay. So you can continue signing, but what the system does is if somebody does come in and you dine and then you just leave, it'll automatically close it. And then you'll still have that access at your disposal to go back when you get to your room and just check and see what that is, and you'll have all that, the descending balance, what you had that night, all that will be available on there. But you can continue signing, but it's really more than an option now. You're going immediately online, you can see it.
I guess I'm just curious, how many of you like the practice of signing? Because, you may say this is my signature on it and I know what I've got. You're still going to have the receipt. But I saw one hand go up quickly. Yes, you like the idea of signing. Is that important to you, to be able to sign to validate your order? Maybe we use it more as the exception, those who would want to. So good feedback, because if you can get in and see it, or some of you, again, may not use technology, but you want to go in and see a given transaction, we'll share with you how you can meet with dining, how you can come, and they can open up a screen for you, and they can, oh yeah, on March 25th, oh, that's right, my son did get crab cakes, and we did that. That's correct. You could see it. But I think, we're trying to make it simpler, we're trying to make it smart, and I think that's an interesting feedback for us about the pros and cons of signature. Maybe it's an option provided, but maybe it's only on request. So we'll think through that one, but thank you, good question. Okay, Tom, question?
Yes, it's probably a little bit naive on my part with this electronic stuff, but how broad of a menu can you have for a given event?
The question is, how broad of a menu can there be? I think it's fair to say the system could probably put a TGIF menu on it. Have you ever been to TGIF and it's like an encyclopedia? I don't know how they produce that many items. We can put a lot of menu items on it.
Yes, there's hundreds of lines involved in this menu that we can insert any size menu in there. Even what you mentioned before, coming into this room, we can build an unlimited menu here, along with expanding the menu in the restaurants as far as we want. Plenty of room.
And in building the menu, what's also simple about it is it has its own built-in library of items and entrees and descriptions, but we also can build and add on to it. For example, even with the pictures, there's over 700 pictures of entrees, pictures of hamburgers, pictures of Reuben sandwiches, pictures of pork schnitzel and Wiener schnitzel and all the schnitzels that Belle and I were talking about earlier today. All these pictures can be there.
Part of what's puzzling, you've got a very broad system with seemingly an infinite variety of foods. You've got to order in a certain specific period of time in order to provide to the customer. You don't have infinite storage space in order to have these things available.
Absolutely. So here's where his question is, and it's a good one. Just because the system allows and has a big dictionary and a big collection of recipes and pictures, etc., we're not changing the offering numbers to you. So the type of menus you're seeing today with always available items, with the weekly specials, with the daily specials, that will continue. We're not going from 15 choices to 50 choices. That's staying the same, but I think through the dining committee and just what Kurt and Chef are doing is still listening to you, because even those weekly and other things need to change timely. So we're not going to a voluminous menu. No, we cannot produce that with quality. We're going to stay within our limits of what we can produce in order, but the system has endless abilities of adding items when it's on the menu.
Thank you.
Another interesting feature in that is that a lot of the questions are, how is this prepared? What is the entree? So we'll try to do a demo. I hope we can get it over here. But when we go to the menu and you get to the item, there's a photo of it. But underneath it, you can click the details. And if you were to click country fried steak, for instance, it would say a pan-fried breaded beef cube steak seasoned with garlic, onion, and spices served with country gravy. So that one's pretty easy, but it'll give you a description. It'll give you a description of what the fish of the day is, the characters of that, and all those added things just at a touch of the server there in front of you.
So it's the question, the purple one here. So if I see an item on the menu, will the server be able to describe the preparation or ingredients within an item? And the answer is yes. As he just stated, they can push a button, they can read you a description. The chef has the ability of customizing that so that you understand either an ingredients or any special element, and then you can even see a picture of what that item looks like. And our interest over time is to let the entire library be our own photographs of the entree made here. Think about the other thing that does. If we have our own catalog of how each entree should look, that's one more reason for consistency between cooks. That each cook needs to cook an item the same way. It should look the same way. We now have a visual reference. This is how that item should appear. Question?
Yes, so I order a cheeseburger, and it comes normally with, onions and tomatoes and lettuce and so forth and so forth. Now, will the system, like in the past, allow me to ask, this is great, I want this, but I don't want any onions?
Yes.
Absolutely. So that's what, also with those descriptions, they won't go to the, for instance, I'm just going to use a steak. If you order a steak, it won't let you go to the next screen until you ask for the temperature that you want your steak. The burger has all kinds of options of what you want to add and what you want to remove, how you want your cooked or any particular enrichments that you want with it. All that right there is at the touch of the button at that moment, so you'll see all that right away.
Will it show the calorie count?
So
Let's
we
repeat
have
the question.
capabilities.
So the question is, will it show calorie count or nutrition information? Good.
So, as usual, you'll have a menu that'll be handed out along with this. It's not just they come up and they surprise you. Like we do now, you'll have your menu available to you, which will be served to you. You're gonna use this to get better at those calorie counts and that information, all the nutritional information and the calorie counts. That'll really help us get up to speed on that because we're using it in conjunction with this. So it'll be on the menu and it'll be available, and we'll tie it into here. But yes, it'll be all that kind of information will be included in here.
So I think I'm going to summarize two things, and Brian, I'll get your question. So one, the whole modification, and for you to say to the server, I want a small size portion. I want this on the side. I want these on my hamburger. I want a cheeseburger with Swiss cheese. It is so intuitive, it quickly guides the server through each of them. Touch, 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 touch. They got the response, and now the order is going to go exactly like that to the cook stand, and they're not going somewhere else. And oh, what did he say? Did he want mustard or not? It's already recorded because when they heard it from your voice, they've entered it into the system. So I use the word modification, they may use a different term, but that's a wonderful feature of this. And it's not relying on human beings' signature, their handwriting. There's no old paper tickets. How many of you worked in restaurants and you had to fill out a ticket and then the cook had to read your handwriting? No more. So very important. And I think with the nutritional information, just to repeat what Kurt said, we'll continue to put calorie counts and information on the menu. But many of you know this, Pat knows it from the dining committee. We're wanting those numbers to be more accurate because you and I have both ordered items in the past and we scratched our heads, how could the broccoli have more calories than the French fries? You know, we've seen it, okay? We can laugh about that, but we will get better at it. And we're not going to go down the pathway today, but with this, we're also getting a nutritional management system. And it's called Fresh Menu. Fresh Choice? Yes. And it's using our higher levels of care, and it has even more capability. So we're going to continue to evolve and get better with that. All right, Brian, I want to go to your question. Brian? The question is credit card use? Yes. And that will come up here in a moment when I talk about PaySource. Okay? I'm going to, Ms. Soto, go ahead.
I understand the stock pictures and stock descriptions and food things to start off with and move into the product. But I would kind of assume that your menu or your recipe is not the same as what a stock recipe might show up on there. Are you going to be modifying those?
Absolutely. So right now we start with stock photos, and then as we get going, one of the biggest advantages of this is that the culinary staff in the kitchen, they can start really making their recipes, taking their photos, really getting everybody in line with ingredients that are made the same way. So when we read these and you have the photo, it's our photo of our food and our recipe, and you'll be able to see all that. But obviously to get started, this company is great at providing us just thousands of stock photos of a cheeseburger, for instance, type of thing. But our goal very quickly is to get to a point where you're going to see almost all of our photos of our food done.
Yeah.
And our recipes.
Yeah, and the recipes. Yeah, so it's two-part. You have recipes that we have custom ourselves, and Chef Julian continues to build his library. The chefs amongst Lifespire can share their recipes with each other. Recipes have to be extended to prepare 50 different, portion sizes or whatever the count may be. We have some recipes that are applicable to higher levels of care in certain diets. It's pretty sophisticated, and it's not just what we currently have, but what we'll continue to adapt, and the system works with us. It provides us some baseline things if we want to use them, but we will continue to build
Another
our...
great thing about this, and it's not something that we're really talking about, is the efficiencies of it. So if the servers are spending less time getting your order in and putting those, it's giving them the opportunity to come back and check your tables for drinks and clear your food. It goes the same with the kitchen. If they're, if they have the extra time to not be doing certain things, then they're putting this information in. They're freeing up their time to do the things to make it more efficient and a better experience for you on that side. So the speed and efficiency of this is probably one of the biggest assets for us in our service center that will jump.
Okay. Okay, we'll keep through the questions, but we may be hitting them in a lot of these Q&As. We got a lot to go through, but we'll keep on the dialogue. Mr. McCray, go ahead.
Regarding timing, then you brought it up. I'm a point of service customer, and I'm dining at a table with other people who are not point of service customers. And as I understand it, you punch in my button, it goes through the system real fast. What about the people that are not part of the computer point of sale system?
Everyone is.
Slow down to get into
Everybody might not use it, but everybody will be a part of it. We'll have everybody.
Yeah, so let me repeat the question. Sorry. The question was, if a resident chooses not to use the portal, right now, because you're a resident of the Chesapeake, you are in and will be part of EMenu Choice System, just like you've been part of Serving Intel. Everybody, we use it. You only have the option whether you want to use the portal to make your reservations and for you to order carry out, etc. That's all it is. It's just a feature. The portal is a feature. The online is a feature. We will use this as the order entry system for all of you. And all of you are in the system. All of your accounts connect to your monthly service fee accounts. Okay, follow-up question?
Follow up on the same idea. Since you go faster through me, everybody's on the system, will the timing of the meals coming in be different, or will the meals all come in at the same time?
No, they will all be the same. So just like we do now, when you sit down at the table, if you use the reservation system every day and your guest never makes a reservation and they sit down, all of your information is still coming up, yours and whoever's dining with you. So when it comes up, the service, it's no different for them. They still have the name and they're putting in all the information. It all goes in together as a table and it'll all be served together at the same amount of time. So no delays, regardless of how much you use the.
But one thing that I will say, and correct me, Kurt, because if you were at town hall yesterday or at recent committees, you've heard Kurt use the term expediter. When Daryl, our kitchen manager, is in front of the grill, and his back is to you because he's talking to the cooks, what he can do with this system, and even today, is when that order comes in from your table, look at it with the cooks and say, you've got 3 cooked-to-order pork chops, you've got 1 order of lasagna that's coming out of the pan. Don't dish your lasagna up until your pork chops are hot on the plate. And then that can be sent out at the same time. I'm giving one example of what the expediter can do. So the system may send all of the items at once, or if he chooses, or Anisha chooses, we can also program it that when it will first send in the salads, the soups, then it will delay it by X minutes if we want it to, and then send in your courses, your entrees. There are so many options that they can tweak to make the experience better. Okay? All right, did I see another hand in the back? Mr. Pope.
Yes, is the system or which staff still remain format, right? I want baked potatoes this evening. Oh, we don't have any more baked potatoes.
So the question is this, I got the answer. The question is, if you ask a server for a given item, his example was a baked potato, and will they know if we have any more? The answer is yes, the system can tell us that. If the chef makes up 50, has 50 portions of grouper, they can actually see in the dining room and then the server, those 50 portions count down to 0. If the chef or the kitchen manager see that, they can quickly say, I want to go ahead and I'm going to put halibut I've got some fresh halibut from tomorrow. I'm going to put halibut on to replace the grouper for the next and final 10 orders. They can make just-in-time changes and can see a countdown. And then what's it also do? The system records it that tells us next time 50 orders of grouper wasn't enough. And then we have data to next time make sure we have 75 portions. So it just creates so many efficiencies and makes us better. All right, let's continue on. This top question I missed. Why is it important for residents to load and ask that their picture be loaded into Uniguest and EMenu Choice? When we add new service to our team, if they can see your picture embedded in the software, in their tablet, when seating you and when taking your orders, it will accelerate their learning your name and promote better accuracy for connecting each order to the person who ordered. You can go through it, and I could say a couple names, and I could say Smith and a few other names, and we've got some redundancies. And if we have your picture and you have that new server, and now which Mrs. Smith is that? It helps us. It will help them. I think you and I are always impressed how quickly the staff gets to know your names. I wish I could learn as quick as some of them. But that's amazing. But we still need to make sure we're accurate, because if they're courteous, polite, and calling you by Mrs. Smith, but oops, they forgot they have 2 Smiths in their station, then did it get to the right account? Seeing your picture gives one more ability of making it accurate. So that's what's there. We've already gone over if I see an item, and you heard an answer to that. If a menu item is popular and availability is limited, this is the question just asked. Will the server know? Yes, the system can track the exact count of each item ordered during the course of a meal. The chef can quickly add a favored substitute if he sees an unexpected run on a certain item. Now, they're going to have to work through their flexibilities in doing so. The chef and then Abrima, who is the evening kitchen manager, they can be watching this. Now, that's a new opportunity that they haven't experienced, but it's something that can make us better. So, a feature of the system. Next question, the big one. This is the one that we sent to you. You're going to see this in a letter. So even though these words are small, you've got it in your Q&A. It's going to be summarized in the letter in your cubby. On one hand, I can honestly say it's a lot of words about not a big deal. It really is. It's not a big deal, because here's what the reality of it is. We'll continue to be best practice in breaking down the alphabet so that not all of you are trying to use up your dining dollars at the end of a given month. And we've been best practice by doing quarters. Guess what? Our sister facilities now want to do the same thing. So Lakewood just changed it. Now they're following our practice. The other 3 are going to follow ours. I've been doing point of sale systems since 2001 when I put my first system in a senior living community. And I did this from the get-go because I didn't want to run with everyone using up their dining dollars on the end of the month. So this is second nature for us. But what we have realized is looking across all of LifeSpire to better equalize the lettering groups, we're moving the G's. Where are my G's in the room? Okay? The few of you, truthfully, your cycle's staying the same. The G's are the ones, 17 of you, that have the last name of G. Yes, we know our data. You're really experiencing no change because your cycle is going to just follow suit. Everyone else, you're not going to lose any dollars, but when you see an account balance this week, April 1st, all of you are going to have 2 months added in, which will get you to the cycle we want you on. It's just a little different. It's fine. Yes, manage your dining dollars. They're your dollars. You're not losing anything. Read the letter carefully and then read it again. But trust us. We've gone through this. All of LifeSpire's doing it. All independent residents across all 5 campuses are getting this conversation. Ours is just a little easier because you've already been on a quarter system. So read it, reread it. If I tried to answer a question, I'll do my best, but you just have to trust this. This all works out. And if you look at the end result, it's getting the first part of the alphabet to start their quarters on January, April, July, and October. The first part of the alphabet. The second part of the alphabet, they'll be going February, May, August, November. Third part of the alphabet, their quarters will then fall into March, June, September, December. It's rhythmic, it makes sense. That's really what we're accomplishing. And it's then keeping a pace so we don't have more than any one point of time, a third of the population using up dining dollars at the end of a quarter. Okay? That's really what that's about, so I hope that helps, and the letter will be more. Will any resident lose any dining dollars as a result of this transition? Absolutely not. And if you need us to verify and validate that, we'll show you that, but nope, you won't. Second question, next one on this page, will EMenu choice be used in assisted living, memory care, and health care? Yes, we have devices and an implementation plan to use in all dining venues, with each area soon to have cook-to-order kitchens. We've already got assisted living, but in a few months we'll be ordering cook-to-order in healthcare. It is only natural and efficient to use the same quality and smart product throughout the community. So an example would be, in the future, if one of you are scheduling a hip or knee replacement, it's elective surgery. Yes, you may go into the hospital, you may be a Medicare stay, you end up going to the healthcare center for some rehab. We can bring to you a tablet and you can order your meals. We have a hospitality dining room over there now. And from that dining room, which has its own coffee service and other amenities, you can order your own meals cooked to order out of the healthcare kitchen, delivered to either your room in healthcare or that hospitality dining area. A lot of options exist. So that's the first. The second is maybe not applicable to some of you, but it could be in the future, or it could be someone you know. Can a family member be given access to log into EMenu Choice portal? Yes. A most practical example would be if a resident resides in a higher level of care and their son or daughter would like to be a part of their parents' daily life. The child could be assigned to discuss with or submit their loved one's meal order for the day or days in advance. So it could actually say, hey, Mom's not quite remembering all of her favorites, but I know what they are, and I'd love to know what she's eating today, and I can call her and talk about it, and I'm going to make her food orders for her while she's in memory care or wherever. A lot of possibilities. Okay? Will the system support residents eating in a dining venue in another level of care? Yes. Now, some of you may have wanted to go up and try Pier 57 assisted living, but we haven't allowed you. It's so popular, they're busy. And they're continuing enhancing that. But could there be a time in the future that you want to go up to assisted living and dine and use your dining dollars? Or you see it at different times. Some folks from assisted living come to the main dining room. Their dining dollars or dining program can be used down there, and we can track them. We can see what they've ordered. And it makes us a lot more efficient and smarter by seeing what people are doing as they transfer from dining to dining venue. So it has that flexibility. If a resident routinely has a family member or friend dine with them, will EMenu Choice support adding them to their profile for easy order entry and how to charge their guests so you can use your dining dollars to pay or however you'd like to pay? And the answer is yes. If I'm a resident and my daughter frequently comes to dine with me every Wednesday. She loves to come and have a meal with me. Well, when you bring up my name and the server sees me, it can say add a guest, and add a guest could be, oh, that's his daughter, Katie. And Katie can pop up and they'll take my order, take Katie's order, and say, how do you want, put Katie on my dining dollars. It'll be done. And not only is she identified because she comes routinely, it also will make sure it's charging it the way we want. Now, what happens if Katie says, oh no, Dad, don't put it on your dining dollars, put it on my credit card. No problem. Boop. She's charged, we'll process it there, but my meal will still be on my dining dollars. So the adaptability and conveniences, I think, are important. Okay? Will EMenu Choice be used in other Chesapeake locations? Yes. In addition to all dining venues and Clark's Cafe, the boutique, the main sale and top sale salons, front concierge desk will all use our new POS system for transactions and payment selection. Now you may say, what happens at the concierge? The number one thing is guest suites. Because there's sometimes that you have guests and you want to pay. And it could be added to your account, or the guest could use a credit card. That's fine. But the transaction can occur there. Paula can explore further, but there could even be what happens if we're helping you. I think time to time we're doing shipping or weighing something. That could be assigned and could be added into the point of sale system if you want it to go to your account. There's a lot of possibilities. We have a system called Orbitz that's right now very comfortable in our use for medical supplies and how we build medical supplies, but the possibilities are endless if we'd ever want this system to do more. In each point of sale venue, what form of payment will be accepted? It will match our current practice. When and where applicable, residents will be able to use dining dollars for themselves or their guests. You can use dining dollars for food produced here, but you can't use your dining dollars to get your hair cut. So again, where it's applicable today. At any venue, you can charge your own or a guest meal purchase to the resident account. Again, any dining venue. And if you charge it to your resident account, it will be added to your next month's statement. You can charge a Visa or MasterCard. And finally, in Clark's Cafe and the Boutique, you can continue to pay with cash. We've debated that one across LifeSpire. And at this point, we're going to continue with cash. But you need to know there's a lot of businesses, a lot of retirement communities have just become, charge only, cashless. But for right now, there's just still a handful of people that like to pay in cash and coins at the cafe, and we respect that. So that's where we are today, correct? So those are the Q&As that we could anticipate. I don't know, how did we do? You added to it, but we did anticipate a couple of your questions. Okay? This is the summary that was there in your town hall yesterday. This is the same thing that's in your letter coming to you, and it's that other item I said it was pretty lengthy. And in the lower left is the note for our 17 residents with the last name of G. That they have a little special way they're being handled, but really they're on the automatic cycle they need to be. So this is just, again, a summary. You won't lose dollars. We're merely going to be adding 2 months on April 1st, really to each group. But whatever your dollars were, now one of you are ending your quarter, and that's the R through Z. So rather than getting a full 3 months, you're just getting 2 months because they are ending their quarter. The others get 2 months. It will put us on the right cycle. Do you want to try a demo? What do you think? You go ahead with your question.
It's cloud-based. What network do you operate on? Is it Cox? What kind of a backup system do you have because Cox is
Sure.
down?
So the question is, confirming again, this is for the high technology. How is this system connected? We've all used this term cloud. It means that, in this room, I can point out, and we could probably find how many Arubas we have here, but we have Wi-Fi settings. I see one up there. So we've got them. We got a balloon over there. But we have, throughout our buildings, our Wi-Fi routing network. We went around and tested the strength of all. We have a second backup system to internet. So we have 2 forms of fiber coming to this campus now. Cox is one. The alternate, I am not going to pronounce the name right, but it's an alternate. You all only have Cox, okay? So when your Cox is down, part of ours is down, but we also have a backup. So that was part of our overall technology strategy. So with this system going in place, we had mapping of every room in our building wherever there's a venue. So our dining room, our cafes, the assisted living, even the healthcare, mapped all of them to make sure that the Wi-Fi strength was strong and the connectivity was exactly what the system needs. When it comes to the reference checks we did, we asked repeatedly to at least 20 different communities were on our list because a couple of our references were from multi-site. And we asked the question repeatedly, has the system crashed? Has the system dropped? No. as long as you have the Wi-Fi strength and you have redundancy, it's an absolute. So that was important in our due diligence. Next question. Yes?
Will we be seating closer to our reservation time?
The question is, will we be staying closer? And I think what you're asking is, you make a reservation time, will we be able to seat you close to that, be better at it, is what I think you're leading me to. And I think that's obviously a goal. We want to be as spot on as we can. If we have reservation times that are set, having a hostess that's at the stand, just like the expediter has to be in their spot so that they can seat you. There's some of you that may dine later, and once in a while there's a table turn and the previous party has to leave the table. But I think that's just a goal. So I'm not gonna tell you it's a magical wand, but I think that that's something that managerially they can support. Question?
I have a question about reservation time. You can't make the reservation until 10 a.m.? Why was it determined 10 a.m.? Why not 7 or 8 in the morning, earlier? Yeah.
The reason we said 10 a.m., and this is, we can talk further about it, because this is, several of us thinking what would be best. One of our reasons was we didn't want it to occur before the concierge would come, so that an individual who doesn't use technology has the same right. Okay? If we do it at 7 a.m., the concierge is there, people using technology will always have an advantage over someone who doesn't. So that was one of our criteria. 10 a.m. is when we have concierge there, they've settled in for their day. It's before we have our volunteers sit in, so we felt we could be more constant in the service delivery. That's where our thinking was. There is nothing magical about 10 a.m. other than it's not midnight. Okay? And that was one thing we wanted to get away from. So if we, and I will say to you openly, if we experiment with this and we get into this a couple months, let's give it a try, and it's not the right time and some other parameter, at least this system allows us to change it. The previous one didn't. So you're open to it, and it may be a discussion that the dining committee may get feedback from all of you, and if there's another option, I just am thrilled the system will allow us to have choice.
It was just a time we discussed, and 7 a.m. is midnight to some people. Some people still don't want to get up that early and do it, so we just thought 10 a.m. was a nice number. Again, it can be changed. But even adding to that, we had also talked about the same people that get up at 12:01 and make the reservations, it's at the front of their mind what they want to do. So those people are still going to be there at 10 o'clock, probably wanting to get their reservations in. It's just a better time to give more people an opportunity. Instead of 1 or 2 people awake at midnight, most people are ready to go at 10 a.m. So
Yeah.
it's a little fair.
Ms. Roberts, I'll get your hand first. Good.
At 10 a.m., 5 people are standing at the desk to make their reservation. 20 people in their rooms are online. It's going to take you one at a time, right?
Yeah. So the observation or question was, if at 10 a.m. there's 4 or 5 people lined up, and then at the same time there's individuals in their apartment or cottage making reservations online. It's going to happen. And all we can do is let the concierge take one person at a time. If they're receiving a phone call, alternate between the phone call and the person in front of them. Paula's going to have to work through that practice with the concierges. It's not perfect. I don't know a way of making it perfect. But all we can do is do our best, and we'll see how it is. And there's sometimes you're not automatically going 7 days out. You're just getting reservations a few days in advance, and it's not, a high demand.
Tuesday's April 1st, so I'm not going to challenge anybody to test the system. So let's just see how well it goes.
I already have a reservation.
Yeah, mine's already made
Yeah,
for April.
and those will just transfer over, so any of those.
Yeah, so we've got a week of transferring reservations plus. I think the other thing that it's not on the Q&A, but Anisha and Kurt, if someone has made an advance reservation for a guest a couple weeks out, whatever, we're really going to have to scale dine time to make sure that we're capturing anything out. That's why we said we're not going to turn it off. We want to keep dine time on long. Even though you may not see it, we're going to want to see it to make sure we're not missing a future reservation. Ms. Bird, I'm going to get you, and then we see a couple more hands in the back. Go ahead.
Mine is a little bit different, but similar to what you were saying. A lot of us are in exercise class,
which is going to take away the rush. That was, honestly, I thought about that. At 10 a.m. in the morning, you know what? Maybe not every Tuesday you have an appointment, and you know what? It evens the playing field. So I don't think it's all bad that at 10 a.m. in the morning people may be doing certain things. So, I mean, I'm just a response. I'll hit one more question here, then I have a couple in the back. Ms. Roberts, another one.
Is a message gonna come on and say you're 6 and 9? So we will get to you.
So-
So when you log in on your portal, as soon as you log in, it tells you right at the top that what reservations you already have had. So if you have reservations today, it's 7 p.m., it's gonna show you right in the corner that you have reservations today at 7 p.m. in Nevada Grill.
I think your question's a little different. Your question is if you're calling in. Hers is if she's calling in, is our answering service going to say, you're on hold and you're number 13? No, our system does not do that.
You just hold on until you get your turn.
So, Paula, correct me if I'm wrong. If multiple people call the front desk, does it go to a busy signal or what happens?
It just rings until it's answered.
It-
After so many rings, it will go to the back desk. That's fine.
So right now at her response, again, we're talking about phone reservations. Phone reservations. If you call in and the concierge is already talking on another call, it will ring to them. After X number of rings, it will go to the back desk. We'll have to think about that. We may then let them record your name and we call you back. We're going to have to work through that, but it sort of happens now. So we'll think about the telephone queuing. All right, go Ms. Nunn in the back over there next. Go ahead.
Procedure now for ordering carryout.
Thank you. So the question is ordering carryout. The procedure now is you call in and you talk often to Katie Ritter, and the call-in time for carryouts is at what time of day? When is the time frame?
Until 11 a.m.
11 to 1:30? So between 11 and 1, let's get, looks like we got a lot of, what is the exact answer? What is our current carry-out procedure? I'm hearing 8:30, 1:30. Do I have another dollar deal? Got a dollar deal. Here we do 11 and 1. What do we do? No, I'm not an auctioneer, but my best friend in high school was one of the best in Ohio.
So we've come to the conclusion, it's 8 a.m. to 1:30.
Does that sound close? All right, so the question was, let's go back to it. What is the procedure for current for carryouts? You call in. We're answering the phone. We're taking your order. At present, and this may be into the future, we accept how many a day? 30 carryouts a day. Those carryouts are then produced in the afternoon out of the Regatta Grill. They're packaged and they're moved over to the cafe, and you pick them up there starting at what time? At 3. So what is that? That is a phone call. It's Katie taking the call. It's the staff producing it, etc. If you electronically use the EMenu Choice portal, you can go online, you can place your order, it will give you the choices of the day, it will allow you to choose modifications and all the things we mentioned a moment ago. You can do everything, get it the way you want. We'll set up at this point in time still the same pickup time. But we have the flexibility in the future, we could allow you to choose your pickup time. We're not going to get there yet. There's a lot of possibilities. And what's unique about the system is when you're placing your order, you can do it at 7 in the morning. You can do whatever you want on the carryout. But the system triggers when it will be produced, timely to your pickup. So there's a lot of advances in carryout. So the procedure, the only thing that's changing on carryout is you'll have an option of ordering online and not directly through Katie. The option. If you want to continue to call Katie, you may do so. So right now, that's where we are. Give us some time, because I think this is something that the dining committee may guide us into. Do we want to change that? Do we want to change the parameters, the pickup times? I have some other ideas and some things I've seen in another community I want to share with Kurt, that let us get a few things under control, and then let's see how we can expand that option. All right, that was carrots. I still in the back room, and I'll come to you, Jane. Go ahead, sir.
In the current system, I go in, make reservations for Monday, let's say, and I get through the different screens. Of course, it wants to text me, I'm not giving it a cell phone number, but still have to click that. Then I get to confirm, then it wants to give me directions on how to get here. And then if I want to make another reservation, I have to go back out and start over again. Is that going to be the same thing?
So his question, he's going through the current procedure of using dine time that's not quite as user-friendly, and you're having to enter in even some information that's not relevant. You're getting a map to get to the dining room, which we need at times. But the new system, I think you're going to find very, very simple and intuitive. I just let the proof be in the pudding.
Can I make more than one reservation with one sign?
I think the answer is yes. I think you can make more than one reservation per sign-in.
I believe the answer is yes. The reservation part, we haven't really walked through a lot, other than the training and the demos that we've seen. But I think that's the case. When you go to make a reservation, you can make multiple reservations.
Yeah, but you're obviously only going to be able to make them within that 7-day window starting at 10 a.m. Okay? Did I have one more question before I come up front? Yeah, Susan?
Explain, please, how a resident loads his own picture in Unicast or EMenu, or else who he asks to do it for him.
Okay, so Candace and Paula in the back of the room, and they are your experts. They will help you with that. And if you want guidance in how to do it, is it possible for a resident to load their own in?
Well, it's already been done for all of you, minus the few that I have highlighted on the list.
We snuck your photos. We've got pictures of you. We've got your picture on. Susan, I've got your graduation picture. Is that okay? So what you're hearing them say, we've had a great partnership. We've really tried to ease the load on you and even on Kurt and Anisha. Praise to Candace and Paula. Leslie's back there. They've been helping to populate and using what we have from Uniguest, copying pictures over. We've even, a couple of pictures we've had from other things we've been able to use. So if it's not the picture that you favor, you can ask the server to see you and you can say, ooh, that's a good one. Or I see my picture and I say, oh, but we have you. But if you do have a question about picture and or want to see it, they could show you in the back. Jane, to you. Do you remember your question? It's been 5 minutes ago.
It was Susan's question.
You got it. Her question was the same as yours, Susan. So pictures, we've done our very best to bring one in. And, you know, it's not a bad exercise for us going through this, because there are some of you who really appreciate using Uniguest to get to know each other, neighbors. And by us using this as an opportunity to try to get all photos in, it's good. And hopefully you accept that. Okay. Demo, yes or no? Do you need to go plugged in, or what do you need?
I created a fake resident account so that I can see what they see.
Already know the reservation.
Okay, so what you're seeing is, in essence, sort of what the tablet looks like, and even it's what can be looked at through the portal. Looks very similar, correct? Yes. So if you want to navigate a little bit, you can see placing orders is there. I'll let you sort of, you want to demonstrate something?
Sure.
So you want to show like a placing order, and this would be someone who wants to place a carry-out order?
Correct.
So you go ahead and you'd click that on your tablet or your device.
And then you select which
And then you select where you're going to order from, Regatta or Clark's, whatever, Sashimi Regatta. Then you're going to say, is it lunch or dinner? Now, right now, with this being a carryout, we'll have to convert this to be only dinner, right? Because we only do carryout for dinner. So we're going to make that adjustment. Right now, we've got some keys that will deactivate. So let's go ahead and say you did so, and then, okay? Then you go ahead and you'll touch Start Order, and then it starts taking you through, and it will have your name. You can see on the left it shows a guest. It will start calculating amount due, and you can start going through here and clicking on the items that you want. This is identical to what the servers will be doing. And you can see many of the things we've got, either pictures in or whatever. If you want to hit something that might have a show detail, is there something like that clam chowder? Do you have any of that yet? So maybe go down to it. Shrimp cocktail is a classic appetizer. Features chilled cooked shrimp served with a tangy cocktail sauce. The shrimp are typically peeled and deveined with the tails left on for easy handling. That's an example of descriptors that can be added to every item. So by merely pushing that, you can read it if you're ordering at home for carryout, or the server can read it or show it to you at tableside.
And moving forward, this is what we had talked about, that the chef or the culinary team or us, anybody has the ability to put our photo of our food, our shrimp salad, our shrimp cocktail, and then put in his own descriptive of what it is from his recipe and how he made it. Shrimp cocktail is pretty universal, but if there's any item, it would be his photo and description of how he went about preparing it, what the...
So you can sort of see, as discussed before, this is similar to what you see on the menu, where there's 2 salads, 2 soups. Then you see there's weekly specials. Again, pictures will be incorporated. This happened to be when we had spinach basil pasta and chicken bacon Swiss sandwich as. Then you can go and you'll see that there's featured entrees, then the always available, the filet mignon, the grilled chicken, the pork chop, crab cakes. So you can see how our menu's already starting to be built in. So this will replicate each day exactly what you're reading in your menu.
So I click on the filet.
I don't know if it's gonna click because it's not available right now.
Not the details, just the
The
click on
picture.
that.
Yeah, it's,
Select that.
it's not open because it's closed out.
Well, if you open that, it won't let you go to the next page until you say what temperature you want, so rare, medium rare. And when that goes in, there won't be any mistake of the server putting it in, it'll be automatically put in there.
And you know, they can go to featured desserts and show where it was glazed apple fritters, apple pie happened to be loaded in. You know, someone goes back, oh wait, change my beverage. Server can quickly go there. So with touching their fingers, they're moving between this in front of you and making sure each item is what you want. And this is exactly what then goes to the cook's production. So you're getting so we went in under so it's really identical what you're seeing if you're ordering a carryout, but what we'll be making is this will only be available during those time frames for that evening meal carryout. But for lunch and dinner, what the servers are using is screens and a tablet that looks very much like this. You can see over here on the side that where a guest can be added. So this is where, Anisha's pictures would be here, but then also if she has a guest who's always dining with her, we can add that guest in because some of you know this. Some of you have very routine guests who come. Okay, they can be part of this. Okay. So, we could go so much further down the road on this, but it's trying to give you at least a little illustration. I'm trying to think, I was going back to home. How to use it, orders, the reservations here, billing details, weekly menus. If you want to get online and you want to see the weekly menus, you can do it here and see the menus loaded in.
Go here, it's gonna pull up the menus for Sunday.
So there's Sunday's menu, and that will show you. So you can get online. There's Monday's menu. So for you to use your smart device sitting at home, your son or daughter wants to come, you can open up your tablet. Oh, come next Wednesday, they're serving your favorite. Okay, you can see it. A lot of possibilities. Okay, and again, I just will emphasize, it's intuitive, it's easy. I'm actually here almost able to order it and follow it myself. And that's something that the servers, they're sharp, they're quickly getting onto this, they quickly help each other, oh yeah, I like this feature. Oh, I like using the details. And oh, here's how I move back and change the beverage order. All that they become and will become very good at. All right, so you're seeing a part of it. You can also see then how we set up as, even we call it a menu, we've set up Pier 57 as its own. We set up an entire menu of services and arrangements for the salons, Clark's Cafe, the Portside Boutique, even catering. So if someone wants to have an anniversary celebration, we can go in and utilize this system, and it will take care of all the catering ordering, the food, helps them understand productivity levels on a given day, and even they'll know what to staff. So a lot of systems built into this. So this demos can go very long, but I want to give you a flavor. So you're seeing that, we don't have a picture loaded in, but you would get back under the profile where it's there. Orders, what this would show, and I'll click on it, we'll see nothing's probably going to be in there, but it would show, if we would say, I want to see all of my orders during the month of March, it would show you your orders and what you had each day. So this is that giving you, like, you may say, oh yeah, that's right. We did get the surf and turf, or whatever it may have been. Okay? All right? So that's what would be populated here. Guests are in there, etc. So a lot of capabilities. Give you enough input on that? Is that okay? So that was just a little bit. I'll plug in and just do a final couple slides and we're done, unless you have more questions. So go ahead with your question, Kay. Is that Kay? Go ahead. The question is, again, repeat that. Kurt, what was it?
She wants to know that it's set up that they can practice with it now. It really doesn't have to. But if anybody can try to put myself up. If anyone would like to see us a little bit and just get a little demo up here, really quick.
So the question that I'm going to repeat to bring everyone in the same conversation, it was, is it possible for residents to practice or try this? We won't have you live until next week because we really have to get the system correct, ordering the dining dollars. We don't want you to play around and you're charging everything to Travers dining dollars, because then Travers is going to say, Kay, why did you charge my account? No, we want to start it cleanly. But we can have you come up here and you can see, and we'll let you try to get a little demo up front if you'd like to see it with your eyes. Belle, your question.
I have the question. Put in your last name. Two different passports and two different names. They have to make reservation individual or just for two persons?
Can you repeat that?
So she wants to know if we have two different passwords, do they need to make reservations separately? No. You can go in with one password and you can make your reservation for two, absolutely.
So the question is, and really the response, so a couple, each individual is given a password and a username. And just to tell a story, when Lakewood started this, they were told, well, you have to automatically take the 6-digit password given to you by the system. Guess what? Candace, Kurt, whomever, much smarter than that, and they figured out, no. We can get the system to allow us to assign a 4-digit password of your choosing, or our choosing. And we've been able to help out, similar to Uniguest, using either 4-digit extension, or if it's a couple, one other, could be apartment number and a digit, so that it's easy for you to remember. So that's occurred. So back to the question was, if a couple, you can just use one account to make that reservation. The other thing, and I'm going way back in my memory because this was my question last spring, I'm saying I think a 99.9%, it also will automatically link accounts. Okay, and that's something that was an issue in a specification. So we'll double check that, but I should have put it as a Q&A. What that means is that it will automatically pull, if you're using all of your dining dollars up, it will automatically pull from hers. And I'm just pointing to a couple in this example. So yes, you only use one if you're making a reservation for yourself and another. So that's an important question. Mary?
Okay, going forward, April 1st. If we're not using the downtown portal, will we see an EMenu choice? What will we see? see on April 1st?
So I think the question, we're really focused on reservations, correct? So let's stay with reservations. Kurt, I just think, and I don't know what you've talked with the Lakewood folks, it's a different situation because their reservations were very different than how we handle it. I think what we have to do is, until it's effective, we'll use dine time for the first 7-8 days of April. Have to, right? It's the only logical thing. And then come April 1st, you'll be able to start using that. And what we'll have to do is we'll track both systems because we're not going to shut dine time down to well after April 15th. We just got to make sure everybody gets comfortable in using the new system. So up until April 1st, you have to use dine time for reservation. Okay, should have anticipated that question, a good one. Gene.
I have routinely taken reservations for 2 other people besides myself. And would I be able to do that, even if it's a day I am not eating with them, I make their reservations for them?
So Jean is a very kind soul, and she makes reservations for her neighbors. Do they pay you for that? Do they give you a free dessert? No, and just what she's doing is helping others. So the question is, can you make reservation for another party? So Kurt, I'm thinking through that. Is that possible, and will it continue to be possible?
Yes, she can, and you can add the parties that's gonna be at the table to the reservation.
For the number.
The residents, yes, so for when she makes the reservation, she can add who's she's making those reservations for and who's all gonna be at the table. So if it's a party of 3, and you're making it for Miss Smith, and Miss Smith is gonna be there, Miss Lee is gonna be there, Miss Jackson is gonna be there, you can add that party to that reservation.
So then the question is, what happens if you don't show up? Can they still get the table? And I guess the answer is yes. Okay?
I said today also how lucky I am to have Anisia know the answers to all these questions, so.
Okay.
Thank you.
So I think what we're hearing you and we're responding, as you're doing today, I think there's no issue with that. Because some of you, it's helpful. You have friends you want to dine with. So you want to set up a reservation. Some of you take turns. Who's making reservation this week or this night? You have your systems. You don't have to stop that. But I think what we're sharing with you is you will be able to do so. And you gave an example of if I happen not to be there, and even though I made a reservation, will it be okay for your... Yes, the other residents will be dining at that time. You just happen to be their entry point.
But I can help them, my guests, if I'm good and want to take that with me.
So you're asking, will the residents be your guest, or is it someone else who's your guest?
It's somebody that's here,
Yes.
but one of them can't remember hardly to come to eat. So
Yeah. So they can be under your party of reservation. Yes. Okay? Okay.
Next week at this time, if we have questions, who is the go-to person to ask?
The question is, next week at this time, who is the go-to? And Kurt, something that we may want to think about is having each day, maybe somebody, and I could sit in for a while or whatever, we just have a point of reference. Maybe we're sitting at a place in Windjammer. I'm just trying to think, is there a certain time of day that would make sense? We could clearly say, sure, they could call you, they could call Anisha, which is an answer, and a quick one. I'm just thinking maybe to have an ambassador at a table at a point. Maybe it's, an hour before dinner. Maybe it's during dinner. Maybe it's, those eating lunch. So I think what we're now saying to you, if you have a question, you will be able to ask any of the managers in the dining room, Sam, Anisha, Kurt. You'll be able to send them a message or an email, and I think there's many of you feel comfortable with that. Let us look at one more possibility of having sort of a Q&A table that we just have somebody at a certain time.
And we also have the benefit of Lakewood is about 2 weeks into their startup with this, and they've learned some things along the way that they're very graciously sharing with us. And we're also going to have a couple of bumps as we go that we're going to learn from. So that's a good point, that we maybe assign a person who, as we start seeing these, we can at this time answer them or just have it all set up, or at least have it on paper that we found this. It might be helpful to you we will be learning
Yeah.
some things along with you.
Yeah.
We'll be here to go through that, absolutely.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay.
I can tell you this, you can always call me, and if I don't know the answer, we'll find out where they are, but we will. It might not, I might.
So let us, here's what I'm going to suggest. There's been a couple questions that you've raised today, and I think us giving you a quick, resource. Let us release something on Monday that just says, here's who you can call, here's where we'll have a helper available to answer questions in person. Let us put that together and deliver that to you on Monday. Okay? Good question. Tom.
If I order a beer in the Windjammer, is that going to be charged there? Or are you going to rely on me to remember to tell the server?
The question is this: if you arrive and you're in the Windjammer and he orders a beer or a glass of wine, how will that transaction be recorded?
In the Windjammer.
So they will have the ability of touching the screen, opening the order. When they open that order, then will that be with his dinner, or will it merely be a separate transaction?
It's going to be a separate transaction. He can carry it over to his dinner, or he can close it out in the Windjammer.
Okay, so what the answer was this: if you're ordering a beverage in the Windjammer, you're paying for that under your dining dollars, you have the option, they'll enter it there. And you can either close it out and it can go to your dining dollars, or they can transfer it to your table. Okay? And those are the types of things that it may take us a few times for each server to experience that, because at first they may like, ooh, I haven't done that yet. So that's where we have to be patient and guide them through it. And that's the rest of the orders will go simple. A couple little nuances like that we're going to have to help them through. Okay? Brian. Okay, I think I caught most of your question. Let me make sure I got it.
Everybody has a menu, so, I expect this place is the same in each location.
Okay. So I think I hear his question, and I'm going to repeat it. Because we're using this across LifeSpire, could you get into the portal or website and see menus, et cetera, and are we consistent at all 5 communities? Even though we're using the same system, our menus are different. Nobody keeps pork chops and crab cakes on their menu like we do. Okay, there's a certain thing, so each one has its own nuances. What they're serving up at Culpeper, so the system allowed us to keep our personalities. Okay, so it is very personalized, very customizable to us, and we're not locked into some corporate menu. Okay? Yes?
I may have missed something, but if I'm making a reservation for a party of 4, do I have to give each person's name or just under my name?
So the question is, reservation party of 4, them plus others are joining them. Are they providing each party's name? Or so the answer is no, you may just do it for the group.
Plus 3 guests.
So your name, Ms. Robinson, plus 3 guests, or whatever, okay? And then when they come, then it's, Mary McCormick's there with you, and Judy's with you, and then we'll add those parties with you, and then it'll plug into their dining dollars. Okay? Yes?
When I made inquiries out in the hallway there when they had the table, I was told that my name and data did not come across, but that it would by today. But one of the things I'm not clear on is what do I, the resident, do initially to start this thing?
Okay. So Carol's question, first of all, referencing that some of the names we've got populated. So is she ready to get her passport now, Candace?
Yes, I have hers, but you may want to mention the correlation with matrix care and if they're out of town and how that affects the system.
Okay. So the first part of the answer to her question is, yes, the ability to know that you're now set up. We can have your picture, everything associated with it. That's done. Okay. Second part of your question was?
What do do I, as a resident, initially have to do?
So, as a resident, the first thing you would do is, if you choose to, on April 1st, make your first reservation for up to 7 days out. That's the first thing you would do. If you come and have lunch or dinner, or you get something at a cafe on April 1st, and you want to test a portal and say, hey, is my transaction already on my account? You could check your account. Those are the simple two things that I would do. I'm curious. So one, test the reservation process going out 7 days after 10 o'clock on April 1st. And second, after you've had your first meal experience, the servers, you'll see what they're doing. You're gonna help them, we're gonna interact. But then at the end of that day, whatever, see if it came through as you expected, and you'll see what it looks like in your portal.
Now, to do that, though, I have to have done some password or something, right? They'll be able to get into wherever this.
That's correct. So her question is back to leading us to, if you do not have your username and login set, and they'll give you a little card. If you don't have your little card, which you'll use to go to the portal, the site, and log in, then you can do that. Now, some of you may say, I don't use technology, David. What do I need to do? Nothing. Nothing. You can just continue to call for reservations, or you can have Jean make reservations for you, or you can go to the dining room and just order your meals as you always have, and we'll give you a receipt that shows your balance. If you don't want to use the portal and technology, nothing changes. And yes, you're going to get your new dining dollars, setting you up to a new cycle on April 1st, and everything magically will be correct.
And that brings up a good point about it. There's some things that aren't going to change. I had a question from Ms. Flora, who just left, that, if I make a reservation for 2 and 3 guests show up with 4 guests, will I be able to dine? Of course. We'll always take care of that. Nobody's not going to be turned away to eat. If you don't have a reservation, of course, we're going to find your seat. And if your number changes, of course, we're going to make those accommodations. So there are several things in there that aren't going to change in the whole activity. And that is our ability to just adjust and on the fly with the show.
So as we finish up here, I'm just going to hit these. I'll hit a question maybe at the end because we're an hour and a half in. What are the benefits? See how we do on speed of service over time. You being able to order online if you choose to and not talk to a person, but see menus in advance. Real-time billing statement and summaries. What did I order? Is this correct? Ooh, it is. Fewer transaction mischarges. We don't have a server taking paper, going over, entering into another system. Allergens and preferences can be included. We have combined the reservation system with the point of sale. What are the changes? Servers consistently using tablets tableside. It is now a requirement. One server can't just come in with the piece of paper and go over and enter it in. It has to be correct. Remove step for greater order efficiency and accuracy. We're giving you a resident portal if you want to use your username and password and see. One program for the 2. So in summary, EMenu Choice is a cloud-based point-of-sale solution designed specifically for senior living communities. It's made here in America. The folks are from Minnesota. And good people, very down-to-earth people. And quite honestly, their culture and their alignment with us was one of the reasons we chose them. They're very flexible, they're easygoing, they're good business people, and they're accommodating. The platform enhances the meal ordering experience for residents while streamlining kitchen and dining operations. The system enhances staff efficiency, boosts resident satisfaction, simplifies the billing processes. EMenu Choice is also an online ordering, delivery, and carry-out solution, and can be used in our other salons, boutiques, guest suites. So that's what we wanted you to hear today. And if there's any other questions, we'll be here for a while. Please check in with the ladies in the back table if you don't have your username and password and would like to access the system through your smart device, your computer. Okay? Question? People are getting up, but I'll still get it. Pardon? The portal will be on the little card and it'll tell you the exact login address. You'll get it, you just look at the card and you'll... Okay, I'll let them answer the question for you. I think you have to, we'll see if it's a downloadable app, and I think that's what it is, okay? Yep. Yeah. Yeah. And I'm gonna walk back and double check that.
We already have the download.
Yeah, if they already downloaded it for you, great, but we'll see it, okay? Good question. Yeah. Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Good seeing.
Thank you,
It will go well. Because, you know, a lot of communication, a lot of good interaction.
Oh, yeah. I have very little savvy as regarding
And that's why
technology.
you don't need to worry then. If you don't
That's
want to
right.
use it, just come, the staff's going to do it. They'll let you
Just
know your
like
balance.
always.
You call, you get your reservation. Don't change.
I have one question. Will you print the menus out weekly in
The menus will still be printed. We'll do that for some time. They're available complete electronically, but we realize some of you want to see it in print.
Well, I can't function with electronic.
Yeah.
My eyes are in pain
I
when I see
understand.
visual.
Yeah. Yeah.
communication.
So it's important for you to have it printed.
Pencil and paper are my RJ.
That's it, and that's
my
okay.
communication.
Absolutely. Good.
That's great. Thank you, David.
Excellent. Thank
Thank
you.
A wonderful presentation.
Yeah.
Laborious for you.
Hey, we did it.
You're
Hey,
blessed
Tom.
with
Hey.
patience.
Good, good. How's Jess doing? Doing okay?
Doing all right. Reservations that we presently have, we have to go in.
No. So what we were saying is any reservations you've set in the system, we're going to copy them over from Dine Time. Starting April 1st, use the new portal. So that's what we'll ask for. And will probably take us a little bit of time to get people weaned away from Dine Time.
Yeah. Right now, I have reservations on April the 1st for 5:30.
That's in. That's done. You got it. We will follow that. So we'll be using those reservations until we go. It will take us a couple weeks until we get the Dine Time turned off and all of you turned into the new one.
Do we still go into the messenger in the new system?
You'll be able to go through Uniguest and you'll be able to connect up. We'll have an icon there for you to make your reservations. So if you've been doing it that way through Dine Time, what we will do is, once we feel we can do so, we'll swap them so that you're going now into the new portal. But any reservation you make, we will honor and follow those. So, which should be fine.
So in the future, to get into the system, we'll still go into
You can do that, but the quick system that I'd still offer you to get that username and password, because through all you're going to do in going through the portal is through that is perhaps getting an easy entry into the reservation. I still would suggest what you want to do is use that and get into, so it says, you know, resident using, that's your Hughes EMenu choice, provide easy access, all good. Okay, great. And I think EMenu choice is what you're putting in. Okay, excellent. Thank you for your questions.
2 questions. Special meals. You still have to call the concierge.
So special meal, give me an example.
Well, say Valentine's or let's say Thanksgiving meal.
You know, that's where I think that's where we can start to change, because we've been using a paper system for those reservations because we've changed the configuration of the dining room. I think they'll be able to program in, change it to buffet. And then we can use electronically to choose. And as long as you're a party under 6, you can go to the main dining rooms. If it's Easter and you got a party of 8, you'll be able to choose this room. So stay tuned on that. But that's a feature that I like, because it happened over the holidays. We lost one of those paper schedules. They lost it for one of the holiday meals, and they're like having to call people around, and it's like, how did you lose that? Well, it won't happen when it's in the cloud.
The other is, will it ever be possible to make a reservation and select your meal at the same time? So that when the server comes, it's already in the
Yeah.
That would have to be a big change, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But, I mean, if I know what I want,
Yeah.
I've got the menu there, and
Sure.
I can select it.
So I know the system will do that. That's the heck of it. This thing can do about anything we want. It's a Tesla, okay? This thing can do anything we want. But do we want it to? You may be fine because I know you're going to show up. Someone else makes a reservation, doesn't show up, and the food's sitting there, and are we charging them? You follow that?
Right.
So that's what we have. We have to think about system capability and human behavior.
Yeah, I mean, it would have to be that I put in there what I want, but the server's got to press OK.
That's right, and that is possible, and that's that. But again, let us get to that point. But I tell you, the system can do it.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
because just like I was hem-hemmed because when she asked about, we could have gone down a rabbit hole with that with the order out, because you can literally order out. You could order out and schedule different meals, etc. See, what I want us to think about is, right behind this wall, there's that door that goes to the back of the kitchen. It's what they cut through from the cafe behind. There's a little coat rack there. I'd love to see a Dutch door put there, and that you could come over, push a bell, and you'd already sequence, hey, I ordered my food and I want it to be done at 4 o'clock, and 2 minutes till 4, you show up there, push the button, and they bring your food out because it just got fired off the grill.
Yeah.
It has that capabilities. And then we're no longer sitting it over in the cafe for half an hour, and then you're having to take it home and heat it.
Yeah.
There's so many possibilities. It is neat.
And here's one other thing. I would bet good money that half the drinks ordered in the Windjammer
Don't get charged.
don't get charged.
Oh yeah, agreed.
That's
Yeah.
That's a poor system.
Yeah.
So
It's true happy hour.
that's why everybody goes there and orders.
Yeah.
Now, like the other day, I ordered
Yeah.
a beer. And when I went in to sit down to eat, I forgot to tell the server I ordered a beer.
Yeah.
They didn't ask. So the next day I come in and I tell the server, I ordered a beer yesterday, a Bud Light, and didn't get charged to my bill. Okay, we'll take care of it. Next thing I know, here comes another Bud Light. It never showed up on my bill.
Yeah.
Neither one of those were on my bill.
We like you. Good point. I hear you. Absolutely. I'll take your microphone. I'll get your microphone. Good job.
Yeah, thank you very much.
And is that both? Yep, the little one and the big one.